Welcome to The Critical Free, everybody. We're going to do things a little bit different. We're not just going to be doing one film. No. We're going to kind of look into the free adaptations of the classic Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Hi, this is Jared Earl speaking, and now I'm going to talk about my quick facts about the three Grinches. Number 1. Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas was released on December 18th, 1966. All I can say is, it's a feel-good holiday classic for both kids and adults. It became a holiday television classic. Boris Karloff is a good narrator and a good Grinch. It has been 58 years since it aired on CBS. It was also broadcast again on CBC on December 20th, 1966. I wouldn't forget You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, the music by Thor Ravencroft. It was one of the best holiday classics that hit the small screen in the mid-1960s. Another good cartoon holiday classic is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, premiered in 1964. Frosty the Snowman in 1969. And Mickey's Christmas Carol in 1983. That's one of my favorite holiday classics that I watch every year for Christmas. Number 2. The live-action The Grinch was released on November 17, 2000. Jim Carrey played a good role as the Grinch. It was the 6th highest grossing film of 2000. On its opening weekend, the film made $55.1 million. On its second weekend, it made $52.1 million. It remained at the top of the box office for 4 weekends in a row. It won at the Oscars for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And finally, Number 3. And now the 2018 animated movie The Grinch by Illumination. On its opening weekend, it made $67.7 million, finishing first at the box office and topping the 2000 film. On its second weekend, it finished second place behind Fantastic Beasts 2 with $38.2 million.
The Grinch is a creature who is kind of miserable, doesn't have that many friends, well, other than a dog named Max.
Even then, that's debatable.
Other than that's debatable, but still, you get the idea. He hates Christmas. He hates the food. He hates the music. He hates the presents. He hates the decorations. And the noise and the noise and the noise.
Oh, and the feast.
That's food. He ends up coming up with a plan after kicking his dog, Max, into the snow bank. And why not steal symbols of Christmas from the town of Whoville to sort of prove his point? And so he dresses up like Santa, and he creates this sleigh, but he needs a reindeer. And of course, we all know the reindeer ends up having to be his dog Max every time. And so he goes to the town of Whoville and steals these things. And then, of course, he gets back to Mount Crumpet. And this is, of course, when there's a change yard because he sees the Who's sing their song. And this is when he realizes the Christmas is about getting together rather than about all these symbols, all these objects. But each free adaptations do things a little bit differently. And I think it's time to compare. For one, the original one is just basically following the book. But both the live action version and the computer generated version do things differently. For one, in the live action version, they give the Grinch a love interest, which doesn't make any sense. Why would you give the Grinch a love interest? In the live action film, we also have a very crazy mayor, if you will, who hates everything about the Grinch because when they were kids, the mayor had a crush on the love interest, the Grinch had a crush on love interest, basically. Both the live action Grinch and the 2018 version of the Grinch actually give a reason for why the Grinch hates Christmas. For one, in the live action version, he hates Christmas because he was bullied as a kid. But in the 2018 version, he just hates Christmas because he was lonely. No family wanted to adopt him when he was a child. As for how they do the little girl Cindy Lou Who, unlike the book and the cartoon, both versions of Cindy Lou Who are kind of different. In the live action version, she's more of a leader. She's mature. She sees the good in anybody. And she's kind of like a leader towards the Who's, rather than the mayor is a leader towards the Who's. But in the computer-generated Grinch of 2018, she's kind of a tomboy. That's all you get. Also, how the people treat the Grinch is a little bit different. You see, in the live-action version, they all hate the Grinch. Well, except for Cindy Lou and Martha May. But in the 2018 version, they just want to get him invested into the Christmas spirit. In the original, they just like, who's the Grinch? We don't know about the Grinch. What, you're talking that creature up on the Town Mount Crumpet? We never see him. Because he doesn't interact with the Who's. Until the very end. Every time when it comes down to how the Grinch changes his ways and brings Christmas back to the Who's, he's just sitting on the town atop of Mount Crumpet where he lives, and he sees the Who's singing, Who fours, Who doors, welcome Christmas Day. And that's when he realizes that Christmas is more than just the presents, the food, not just about the music, but it's about being with the people you care about. And that warms his heart.
Chuck Jones' How the Grinch Stole Christmas aired on CBS on December 18th, 1966. It was developed by Chuck Jones, co-directed by Jones and Ben Washam, and produced and written by Dr. Seuss. Chuck Jones is known for his Looney Tunes shorts, Tom and Jerry, Gay Puree, and uncredited work on Sleeping Beauty. The special ran on CBS for over 30 years, but would change hands. ABC got the rights in the late 90s and would run it alongside the 2000 film. NBC got the rights in 2015, making it the first Christmas special to air on all three networks. It's even aired on the CW, the WB, Cartoon Network, Boomerang, WGN America, Turner Network Television, and TBS.
Oh, and also did on YTV and Treehouse.
Yeah.
And CBC.
I said no interruptions.
In 1986, this special was a part of the library that Ted Turner purchased from MGM. As a result, it fell under Turner's distribution firm until 1996, when Time Warner and Turner merged, and Turner Entertainment was absorbed into Warner Brothers, who have held the rights since. The Grinch is no stranger to being edited or cut. It was common for U.S. broadcasts to cut the lyric, "You're a rotter, Mr. Grinch," from "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," as well as a disturbing moment where the Grinch leers at young Who's in bed. NBC will cut down the special length to the bare minimum, keeping the story intact but cutting visual gags for more ad time. TBS and Cartoon Network air the special uncut due to making money from cable subscriptions and ads, though TBS airs a slightly sped up version to squeeze more ads in. The original broadcast was sponsored by the Foundation for Full Service Banks and had sponsor plugs at the beginning and end. Alas, like the Coca-Cola plugs from A Charlie Brown Christmas, they were removed after 1970, due to the FCC's rule against advertising within children's programming. The OG broadcasts can only be found on unofficial DVDs, YouTube, or the Internet Archive. Thurl Ravenscroft never received screen credit for singing "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," Dr. Seuss caught this and wrote to every major news publication he could, asking them to mention Ravenscroft to make up for it. Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas premiered on November 17th, 2000, with a budget of $123 million. The film was narrated by Anthony Hopkins, yes, Hannibal Lecter, Jim Carrey, hey, didn't we already talk about you in another episode? Taylor Momsen, who became the frontwoman of rock band The Pretty Reckless, Jeffrey Tambor, Christine Baranski, Bill Irwin, and Molly Shannon. Following Dr. Seuss's death in 1991, his widow Audrey Giesel began allowing more merchandise deals, including clothing lines, accessories, and CDs. In July 1998, she and her agents would make a decision to auction film rights to The Grinch. Many studios and filmmakers pitched their visions for a live-action Grinch. 20th Century Fox, with director Tom Shadyac, who was known for Patch Adams' Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, and The Nutty Professor, and producers Dave Phillips and John Davis, pitched their version with Jack Nicholson in mind. The Farrelly brothers, who were known for Dumb and Dumber and There's Something About Mary, and John Hughes, best well known for The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, and Home Alone, submitted their own versions. Tim Burton was initially approached to direct, but was busy with Sleepy Hollow. Ron Howard was initially uninterested and focused on adapting The Seawolf, but was convinced by his producing partner, Brian Grazer. While reviewing the book, Howard was intrigued by Cindy Lou Who, wanted to expand her role, a deeper portrayal of the Who's in a backstory for The Grinch. He would sign on to direct in September 1998. Special effects and makeup were done by Rick Baker, known for his work on King Kong 1976, The Incredible Melting Man, Star Wars, An American Werewolf in London, Gremlins 2, A New Batch, and Men in Black. Carey said he felt buried under the makeup and prosthetics. He had to spend 2.5 hours applying them, and at one point became so frustrated that he kicked his leg through the wall of his trailer and nearly quit. A CIA specialist taught him distraction techniques to work through the discomfort. According to Carey, he was told, if you're freaking out and spiraling downward, turn the television on, change a pattern, or have someone you know come up and smack you in the head. Punch yourself in the leg, or smoke. Smoke as much as you possibly can. To calm his nerves, Carey chain-smoked through a long cigarette holder, so the yak hair applied to his face wouldn't ignite. He also listened to the Bee Gees. Staying alive, ha, 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 ha. Ron Howard spent a full day made up and dressed as the Grinch to understand how Carey felt, reportedly arriving on set at 3 a.m. one morning to get Grinched up. Many of the Who seen performing over-the-top gravity-defying stunts are played by the Cirque du Soleil performers. Jim Carrey wasn't happy with the studio interference forcing in raunchier jokes, as he tried his best to keep his ad-libs family-friendly. The child Grinch was played by Josh Ryan Evans, who was in his late teens at the time and had achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarfism. Maurice Noble, who worked on the original special, was invited to the film's premiere. Afterwards, he cried profusely and exclaimed that Universal ruined it. According to makeup artist Kazuhiro Tsuji, Carrey was acting really mean to everybody, and constantly went AWOL, stalling to the point where they could only get 3 days' worth of filming done. Where Are You, Christmas? Was co-written by Mariah Carey, James Horner, and Will Jennings. Frank Welker voices Max in a live-action film. You might know him as the current voice of a talking Great Dane with a speech impediment. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! And also being the voice of Fred Jones from again, Scooby-Doo, among many others. The idea for a live-action Grinch actually goes back to the 80s, with Seuss himself having been approached several times. Robin Williams, Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, Tim Curry, Tom Hanks, and Eddie Murphy were considered for The Grinch. The Grinch was being filmed at the same studio as The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps, and Carey and Murphy actually interacted in costume. During shooting, Carey stole Howard's hat to do an impression of him. Howard was so amused that it inspired the scene where the Grinch directs Max on how to be a reindeer, which was ad-libbed. During the scene where the Grinch yanks a tablecloth, it was supposed to fail, but Carey actually pulled it off, so he improvised by knocking all the stuff off anyway. Carey actually came up with Cindy Lou Who's line, "Maybe you need a timeout." Illumination's The Grinch was released on November 8th, 2018. It was directed by Scott Mosier and Yarrow Cheney. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Rashida Jones, Kenan Thompson, Angela Lansbury, and Pharrell Williams. Frank Welker reprises his role as Max from the previous film. On October 24th, 2018, the Grinch leak would occur, which was a fake Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster with an edited picture of the Grinch, made to look like he was a part of it. For Christmas 2018, the YouTube channel Silva Gunner, a collaborative channel best known for video game music remixes, would be taken over by the Grinch. At first, they were imposing a picture of the Grinch and Max over their typical lighthouse banner. The channel's description was changed to "The Grinch trademark has taken over Silva Gunner. See Illuminations trademark, The Grinch trademark in theaters today." Their Twitter profile would be changed to the Grinch overlooking a Minecraft landscape. Brad Dourif, yes, Chucky, was going to narrate, but was replaced by Pharrell Williams. The studio wanted Cumberbatch to speak in his natural British accent, but he opted to do an American voice, as he felt it made sense and didn't want to stand out. Despite the fact that Boris Karloff was British, and it would emphasize the Grinch's otherness. But anyway, that concludes my segment.
Alright. Let's just get on with the obvious rant. The love interest! Why would you give the Grinch a love interest?
Why, it makes no sense.
Like, come on. I mean,
Seriously?
like, and the fact that his love interest had feelings for him since he was a child? And still has to the present? What's it? That feels more like... That feels like a sitcom plot.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's just so cliche. Like,
I'm like, come on. What were you trying to do? The Grinch or flipped? Oh, 2010. Come on. Choose one.
if I had to say my most favorite, well, it's a bit of a toss-up between, like, the original animated special and the live-action version. Whereas, like, the original animated special, of course, is a classic and laid a lot of the groundwork. The live-action version does clearly show a lot of effort in, say, the makeup and the set design, and not to mention Jim Carrey's absolutely stellar performance. Of course, again, Boris Karloff is absolutely phenomenal in the original, too. You know, I might be a little controversial for saying this, but I do like a lot of the changes they did do in the live-action version. Like giving the Grinch an actual reason that he hates Christmas, whereas, like, in the original it was left more up to interpretation or was left a lot more vague. Like, in the original, for all we knew, he was just a scrumpy old man who hated all the noise and like, music that was going on. However, if I had to say my least favorite would have to be the 2018 Illumination Grinch, because, well, for one, I find that it suffers a lot from padding. Now, to be fair, the original Dr. Seuss book was very simple, so even the live-action version had to sort of stretch things out. But here's the thing. For comparison, Cindy Lou Who in like both the live-action and the Illumination version is given a lot more prominence. But in the live-action version, she actually feels more important to the actual story. Whereas for the vast majority of the Illumination version, she kind of does her own thing and doesn't really feel connected to the Grinch himself. And not to mention, I feel like Benedict Cumberbatch is actually kind of wasted in the role, because I honestly think if they just, like, let him do his natural British accent, he could have done something similar to, like, Boris Karloff. This is by far the least compelling version of the Grinch thus far. Because again, in the original and the Jim Carrey version, well, this was a guy who could definitely be described as having termites in his smile. Whereas in the Illumination version, it's like, what are you talking about? His teeth are pearly white. At worst, this Grinch is just sort of like a petty jerk. And they kind of squander it by actually having him sort of like go out to the grocery store at the beginning, showing that he does actually interact on a regular basis. Whereas in the other two versions, he was a complete recluse. if I sort of had to describe it, it feels very sanitized. Like as in, say, Illumination was kind of afraid to actually faithfully adapt The Grinch because, again, The Grinch at its core has a message about overconsumerism, which again would not bode well for a big mainstream movie company that wants to make merchandise based off The Grinch.
My favorite Grinch movie is I'm gonna say the Jim Carrey and the animated one from Illumination. The live action one was played by Jim Carrey. He played a good Grinch though. What I like about this movie, is the storyline though. But the worst part I don't like about this movie, was he has beetles in his teeth, which was kind of disgusting though. Yeah, it's almost like compared to the animated version back in the 60s. And now for the Illumination back in 2018. The animated Grinch was so entertaining though. My actual favorite quotes in this one, yeah, when he goes, "This is the loudest snow I've ever heard in my life." And one of the funniest parts in this movie, in the beginning, where he was going to the grocery store, yeah, and then he was passed by the carolers when they were singing, "God bless you, merry gentlemen." Then the carolers were singing. Then they were following him. And then he was hiding under the building. Then he was like, down, down. Almost like a bazinga joke. Another funny thing in the movie, when he was picking up reindeer, and then the goat started screaming. I actually laughed at that. Oh yes, the fat reindeer. Goes, yeah, I remember the quote goes, Santa had 8 of them, but I guess he ate the other them. But overall, the animated Grinch was kind of a nice Grinch. The live action Grinch was a little mean. Same thing with the cartoon version.
Yeah, I could kind of tell, like, we were definitely gonna disagree. But here's the thing. The Grinch is supposed to be sort of mean and ugly.
Uh, yeah, the 2018. He wasn't like a mean Grinch.
Yeah,
He was sort of a nice Grinch.
but I think what I'm saying is that making him nice kind of ruins the whole ending in a way. Because, I mean, he's supposed to, like, have a change of heart at the end. Hence why his heart grows 3 sizes.
When it comes down to me, it's kind of a toss up between the original and the live action. For one, the original is so sweet. It's so nice. It just entertains you for 3 minutes. But then you got the live action. And I'm guessing it's Jim Carrey's funny. Jim Carrey is hilarious in it. And yeah, you see him being mean, and you are given a reason why he's mean. Like, a good reason. But giving him a love interest? That's just ridiculous. But then you get the 2018 version, and just like I said, it's cute, but too cute. And they give a good Grinch rather than a mean, which makes you question, why is the song "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" in the film?
That's exactly what I'm saying. What I said.
Instead, they should have said, "You're a nice one, Mr. Grinch."
Actually, it was, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch."
But the 2018 one felt like, "You're a nice one, Mr. Grinch," rather than "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch."
Like, half his actions actually reflect the lyrics.
Exactly. Now, I must say, the two subplots in the 2018 version were kind of good. By adding in that all Cindy Lou wants is for her single mom to have a nice time during the winter holidays, is actually pretty darn sweet. And the fact that you see an actual reindeer in the film, and the reindeer has a family, is also kind of sweet. But come on, make the Grinch mean!
Yeah, I feel the same way with Sidney Lowe. Yeah, in the cartoon, Cindy Lowe was pretty sweet in the cartoon version. The same thing with the live action movie with Jim Carrey. And the 2018, oh, she was pretty cool as the leader. Hi, this is Jared Orr speaking. I'm gonna name my top 5 Christmas movies. 1. Home Alone 1/2, Lost in New York. 2. Elf. 3. A Christmas Story. 4. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And 5. Love Actually. Number 1. Home Alone is one of the best Christmas comedies of all time. I watch this every year, and it never gets old. Macaulay Culkin makes a great Kevin McAllister. The rest of the cast is excellent in this film, including Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the burglars. John Hurt and Catherine O'Hara. The second Home Alone was the best. 1 and 2 are so easy to watch. The quotes never get old. My favorite is, I made my family disappear. You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more? Oh, Peter, we slept in. Kevin, what did you do to my room? Oh yeah, I wouldn't forget about the last line in Home Alone 2. Kevin, you spent $967 on room service. Yeah, definitely a great movie in the 90s. Elf is also one of the best Christmas movies of all time. Will Ferrell plays a good buddy, the elf. He's one of my favorite actors. The movie was a box office hit. It was also a holiday classic. The movie has lots of heart, sense of humor, and charming. My favorite quotes are, Santa! Oh my god! Santa here? I know him. He's a fake. He's an angry elf. Number 3. A Christmas Story has to be my other favorite Christmas movies on my list. A good classic story in the 80s. He wanted a BB gun for Christmas, and he got one. Another quote in this movie is, Don't shoot your eye out, kid. And I like the part when he wears the pink pajamas. He looks like a deranged Easter bunny. He looks like a pink nightmare. Great story, and the perfect holiday classic for the whole family. Number 4. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation has to be one of the funniest Christmas movies ever. The cast is funny include Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, and Johnny Colecci plays Rusty Griswold, who is 14 years old, also known as Leonard Hofstadter from The Big Bang Theory. I noticed him, and he sounded like Leonard. 4 stars to watch this movie every Christmas. And finally, Love Actually has to be the best romantic Christmas movies of 2003. The movie was so beautiful. The story is fantastic. It has a good cast in it like Hugh Grant, Liam Neeson, Alan Rickman, and Emma Thompson. My favorite scene in the movie when he was holding up signs and said, To me, you are perfect. That scene actually melted my heart. It has to be the best scene I have ever watched it. I give it 5 stars.
I'm Jared Jenkins, and this is my top 5 animated series Christmas specials. Number 1. Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, from The Simpsons, aired December 17, 1989. Though some elements are unpolished compared to the rest of the series, this not only serves as a great introduction to the most famous TV family, it's the start of the most legendary run in animation history. Number 2. Christmas Who, SpongeBob SquarePants, aired December 7th, 2001. This right here is a modern Christmas classic. This episode is just so much fun, from that sad SpongeBob meme picture to Mike Bell going hysterical as Santa Claus at the end, which kills me every time. Don't be a Squidward, give this a watch. Number 3, Son of Stimpy, from Ren and Stimpy, aired January 13th, 1993 on MTV, and December 11th, 1993 on Nickelodeon. Sometimes you don't want that sentimental Christmas spirit hullabaloo. Sometimes you just want to laugh at something stupid and absurd, and this is just a special. A fun send-up of overly sentimental Christmas specials with a strange, surreal, and gross humor you'd expect from Ren and Stimpy. Number 4. A Robot for All Seasons. From My Life as a Teenage Robot, aired December 8th, 2004. In this special, Jenny, aka XJ9, finds herself kidnapped by a brat named Todd Sweeney and reprogrammed to destroy Christmas, with plenty of fun action and Easter eggs referencing other specials. An underrated special from an underrated series. And finally, number 5, The Fright Before Christmas from Danny Phantom, aired December 6th, 2005. Our main character Danny Fenton finds himself frustrated during Christmas, and lets off steam by destroying Christmas stuff, and makes a big mistake when he accidentally destroys a poem made by a villain and called Ghostwriter, voiced by Will Arnett, and finds himself trapped inside a Christmas story. The best thing is that the writers really devote themselves, writing most of the dialogue in rhyme.
Well, I guess it's time for Mason to do his top 5 Christmas specials. The first one is, I think, A Muppet Family Christmas. I like the fact that it's like that's a crossover between The Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock, and Sesame Street. Now, one of the things is, too bad they didn't do it in the 90s, because if it did in the 90s, you know what happened? They would add in the Bear in the Book of the House characters. Added in.
Yeah.
But they did a nice job. The second one, Frosty the Snowman. Come on.
Warning, warning. The following segment contains some anti-Rudolph rhetoric. We at Haley Street do not endorse the thoughts and opinions of Mason Rutherham. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's just a classic Arvin Asurin Rudolph, one which I kind of despise.
Are you kidding me? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was so good in the 60s.
We are getting some fiery hot takes in here.
To be fair, I did like the end of Rudolph. But I didn't like before he got to the end.
So hold that thought, Mason. My actual favorite part in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is, I like the elves though. They were pretty adorable. And that snow monster though. Oh, and
Yeah, of course.
so one last thing. Yeah, and another good song in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and it's where they sing, "There's always tomorrow." I forget the rest of the lyrics.
Yeah, irregardless of the good parts of Rudolph, I didn't like it. But Frosty the Snowman was actually kind of nice. It was nice having a good friend that had to be a magical snowman.
Okay, you saved yourself with that one.
And the fact that the plot of him having to get to the North Pole before he melts, again, kind of adorable. My third favorite, the little drummer boy. I especially love the end, when they do the song, The Little Drummer Boy. I love that. It's kind of nice, and his friendship with the animals, it's actually pretty darn sweet. Number 4, Elmo Saves Christmas. I know, Sesame Street, blah, blah, blah. But, to be fair, this was actually pretty darn good. And seeing how everyone was busy and happy about it, but then seeing how everyone was tired of it, that was pure gold.
Yeah.
That was pure gold. And then finally, The Year Without a Santa Claus. I think it's actually pretty darn fun. Especially when it comes to Snow Miser and Heat Miser. I love the dynamic. I did not like their special,
Oh.
but I like the dynamic. And despite it being called The Year Without Santa Claus, the main character is not Santa Claus. The main character is Mrs. Claus, which is kind of nice.
I'm Jared Jenkins, and today we'll be doing an interview with Billy Hyrnick. So, Billy, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Elf.
What are your favorite aspects of Elf?
Well, Buddy's funny.
Anything else?
Uh, he says cut head Niggy Muggins.
What's your favorite character and why?
I like Papa Elf.
Papa Elf? What is your favorite actor of all time?
Favorite actor? John C. Reilly.
What scene in Elf stood out the most?
And he says, "Hey, I seen these toilets. They're ginormous." He's funny.
Well, thank you, Billy, for taking time out of your day to come in and do this interview. We're very grateful.
Oh!
Well, thank you.
And
Why, thank you, Santa.
Mason. I also spotted.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Oh, goody! I wonder what Santa got for me. Oh boy, I can't wait! I wanted a nuclear fission reactor. Don't ask. Even though this is not what I asked for, let's get on with this, shall we? How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 1966. I rate this 10 Jing Tinglers out of 10. You can't go wrong with the classics. How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 2000. I rate this 8 Floop Floopers out of 10. Funny and charming in its own right. The Grinch, 2018. I rate this 5 Who Hooters out of 10. Just a very mid, sanitized movie.
Oh boy. I wonder what Santa brought me. Is it Hot Wheels? What? Seriously? It's my final rating? I thought I was gonna get Hot Wheels. Oh well. And now for my final rating. The 1966, I rate this 10 out of 10. It's a sweet cartoon show. Live action The Grinch 2000 by Jim Carrey. I rate it 9 out of 10. It's funny and entertaining. The cartoon The Grinch back in 2018. I also rate it 9 out of 10. It's cute and holiday entertainment.
What the call? Okay. In my defense, the main reason why I dislike that Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer special is because of how the other young reindeer tree rode on. But other than that, the music was good. The monster not being really evil was good. And I gotta say, the animation was kind of good. Anyway, let's go into my rating. The special, I rank 9 out of 10 Grinches. The live action movie, I rate 8 out of 10 Grinches. But the CGI animated film, 1 out of 10 bunches of coal.
So for my recommendation, I would recommend the 1974 classic, Black Christmas. Not only is it celebrating its 50th anniversary on December 20th of this year, I consider it something of mandatory Christmas viewing, so consider it a Christmas slashic.
I would recommend watching Home Alone 1 and 2, Lost in New York. Macaulay Culkin is always good as Kevin, and the rest of the cast is really good. It is so easy to watch, though.
If you're looking for some thrill and chills, and enjoying a family getting in trouble during the winter holidays, you should watch Krampus.
Ho, ho, ho! It must be snowing out there.
Yeah, like, subscribe, whatever.
I hope you enjoyed the show.
Merry
Christmas to all!
And
To all a good night!
Shut up.